Thinking about buying a Promaster? Watch this video first to see what could happen to your engine. So here's the cylinder head after 93,000 miles. This is the left side head, and I want to point out this broken / cracked exhaust valve here. This is the number 2 cylinder. So I had this happen around 93 is when I actually changed it. It happened around probably 85,000 and I just drove it. Check engine light, had a cylinder 2 misfire. This is cylinder 2, cylinder 4, cylinder 6. Now when we did the compression tests on these cylinders, this cylinder was great, 155 psi, pretty normal. This one only 90 psi, so maybe there's something going on underneath those exhaust valves. I never bothered to look because I put a new head in it. This one here had 30 psi, so very low. I had symptoms of hard starting, also the check engine light cylinder 2 misfire. Other than that, I didn't really notice that much about the power loss. I'm sure there was some, but it was just happening and I really didn't notice it because it was a gradual thing, I think. But if you look at the valve a little bit closer, you can tell there's a big hole in it. It's also cracked. Luckily for me, the chip must have left the cylinder head and went out the exhaust. It's probably somewhere around the catalytic converter, or it could have went through, not totally sure. But I have seen other pictures of these 3.6 Pentastars having the valve seats break in half or the exhaust valve break, and it just destroys the engine. So got very lucky on this one. The camshafts, I also want to point out on a side note, if you look at the cams, to me they look pretty worn for only 93,000 miles. You can definitely see some grooving. I ran Royal Purple 5W30 synthetic, so I was thinking I was doing a good job, but as you can tell, there's definitely some wear. The tops of the lobes are gray, and you can definitely feel a ridge line on them. The intake and exhaust are both the same. Going over to some of the parts I replaced, and I will show the rocker arms where they go in a second. These are the Melling rocker arms, or rocker rollers. These are American made, so that is why I went with these. These were the head bolts I was originally going to use. I don't know how you say that, if it's Mahal or Mail, but when I got them, they showed up and it says made in China. So definitely wasn't too excited to put those in the van just because that's such a crucial part, your head studs. So I went down to the local dealership and they had them in stock. Go figure, they must do these heads quite often. And they are in fact American made. So I went with those. They were like $4 more than these Mahals that were made in China. So definitely get the stock head studs that are American made. So the head that I put on the van was actually off of a 2011 Dodge Journey. This is the stock head off the 2017 Promaster. Everything bolted up perfect on the new head, or the head that I put in. Everything's working fantastic. One problem I did run into is the coolant temperature sensor hole sizes are different. I was luckily able to get an adapter to get it to thread in from Home Depot. I believe it's a pipe thread type fitting. I couldn't tell you the size off the top of my head, but it worked perfect. I have heard people talking about the 2016 model. They changed a few things with the 3.6 liter in some of the Jeeps, but when it comes to the valve train on my 2017, it's exactly the same as the 2011. And they bolted right up everything. I didn't have to do any reprogramming on the computer, none of that stuff. It just worked. So why this vehicle was not covered under warranty, but yet the 2011s and 2012s, from what I understand, are covered under 150,000 mile warranty. I'm still trying to figure that out and get answers from Ram themselves. And all they have to say is, well, it's got a different VIN number, so it's not covered. They recognize the problem on the ones that it went bad. But evidently not, because it still seems to be an issue here on this 2017. So hopefully this doesn't happen to your van. I just want to point this out if you are looking for a Promaster, that you might have to do the left side head at some point. Luckily, not too bad of a job. Other than that, the van's been great, and even by doing this, I'm still very happy with the van because I had under $500 in the whole project. So still happy with it. It took, 2 days to do it, but it's not the end of the world. It's still a great van. It's just that this specific left side head seems to be having a problem in some of these models. So like I said, hopefully this helps you out. And from there, I just want to show you one other area. This is the timing cover, or this is where the timing cover goes on. Some people talk about how you have to pull the timing cover. However, I did not have to. It worked fine just doing it the way it was, leaving all that stuff in place. And yeah, worked good. Also used a American-made head gasket. I believe it was a Mahal or a Male, however you say that. Worked great too, so having no issues now. So hopefully this helps you out. I'm going to show you a close-up of these roller rockers. This is another seemingly common problem with the 3.6 is these rocker rollers go bad, the bearings wear out inside, and you actually start getting play back and forth, up and down with those. So if you are going to do this job, make sure you replace them. Don't just replace one of them if you do have it go bad. Replace them all because you don't want to be in there twice. But a lot of videos, I'm not the first guy to talk about this on YouTube or the first person. A lot of people talk about it, and it seems to be a common problem with the 3.6. So I'm going to show you a few things I had to take off on the van. It's not a terrible job, but it's not something that you're going to enjoy doing. Luckily, the left side head is the front one, so you can access it a lot easier than the rear head. A couple things, the front clip obviously, I did pull the radiators out, or the radiator out, cooling fan assembly. I pulled this front cross member off. This coolant reservoir, I just unbolted it and laid it over to the side. The whole intake system has to come off here, there. The intake manifold has to come off, all this stuff here. Motor mount down there, you got to take that out. I did not have to pull the engine, like I said. The timing cover, I was able to keep it on. So again, luckily it's not the rear head because then it'd be a whole different job. But it is a project that you're really not looking forward to take on, especially a van that has under 100,000 miles. And then you hear about other vehicles having this covered under warranty with a certain VIN number, 150,000 miles on the left side head. This one, with my VIN number, seems to be excluded. I don't know if all Promasters are like that or not, but this is a 2017. I did the job, took me, I would say probably 12 hours total, 2 days working on it to get it done, but definitely did not look forward to having to do that. The right side head of this engine doesn't seem to really have a problem, at least not yet. This happened at 93,000 miles. I'm at 109,000 now, so far so good. But just wanted to give you a little sneak peek as to what's included in that job as far as removal and installation. One thing I want to note about this coolant reservoir, you can see the coolant level looks a little low. It's below the minimum level, but I've looked on the forums and everybody seems to agree that their van naturally finds a coolant level right about a 1/4 inch to a 1/2 inch below the minimum. You can fill this up to max and it'll naturally settle down to about where mine's at. Mine's been that way for 6 months. It hasn't used any more than that, but I filled it up to the max level twice in the past and it just naturally goes down that far. So I'm not too concerned about it. If it is like that in your van, I wouldn't be too concerned if it doesn't go below this little lip here. Not a big deal. I mean, you just want to make sure it doesn't go empty. Thank you for watching this video on the 3.6 liter Pentastar engine in the Promasters. If you want to see more content like this, feel free to like and subscribe. I also do some dual sport motocross, van life, and also dirt bike repairs. I'll have more content on Promaster repair coming out. So like I said, like and subscribe if you want to see more like this. Thank you.